What we're going to look at now are connectors and wiring in a standard circuit, as you can see, that's got 8 rungs in the ladder there. Now the drawing itself, connectors and wiring, is there. I'm just going to save it, and then I'm going to minimize the info center there. It hasn't been added to the project, so again it's a right click over the project, add active drawing, yes to the project default values. We'll need to just update the sheet number there, so right click properties, drawing properties, change that sheet value there to 05, and we'll OK that, and that'll update for us. So there's our connectors and wiring drawing 05 in our 05 schematic components project. Now I'm going to add a connector to this particular circuit here. I'll just zoom out slightly and you can see it there like so. Now the plan is to add a connector going horizontally across those 8 rungs there. Now those 8 rungs I've already prepared for you, and they've got a spacing of 40 units, 40 millimeters, let's say. So I go up here now to the schematic tab, and again in the insert components panel I go to the connector icon here. If I click on the flyout there, I can insert a connector, I can insert a connector from a list, or I can insert a splice. I just want the regular one, insert connector. Now, pin spacing is 40, but I've got 8 wires there, so I need a pin count of 8, like so. I want it inserted at the wire crossing, and I also want to start the connector as a child, so it relates back to the original wire. Or I can start it with a break if I want to. Now here, you'll notice I can flip where it connects. Can you see where the connectors are on the connector block? So I'm going to go for top there, and I'm going to hit insert. And as you can see, there's my connector block floating around. I'm going to position it just there on the first rung of my circuit there. I can even zoom in a bit if I want to. So there we are. Get that arrow nice and neatly and click. And as you can see, everything links together. You'll notice it cuts the wires for you, and that's all linked up now with that connector. Now, obviously, if you've got a separate connector elsewhere and you're connecting wires from one place to another, let's say, you could just insert a connector in space as well. Let's have a look at that. So if I do a connector again, I'll do exactly the same connector. I'll just hit insert, and there's one right there. You can see it insert, and it's a block inserting all those attributes. Now, you'll notice that one there is called X. Can you see that? If I zoom in, it's just called X. If I zoom across here, this one is also X. It's just basically a reference, an attribute. If I double click on that, you can see there the tag is X. So I could change that if I wanted to. That tag can be anything. It doesn't have to be X. Now, let's have a quick look here at inserting some wires. I can click on wire here. I'll hover there like that. And as I come away, there's my wire. I'll just click and just press enter to finish. I can just add a wire to a connector in space like that. Now, what I can do here, if I just hit enter again to come out of that wire command, I can also click on the connector itself, right click, and I can actually rotate that connector, like so. So it says select connector to rotate. I click there, rotates it automatically for me. If I right click again and enter, that job is done. If I click on it, right click, I can also swap the connector pins around. I can swap them. So if I click swap connector pins and select a connector pin there, like that, swap with, let's say 3 there, can you see I'm swapping the numbers? So it depends on where those wires go. I'll just press enter there to finish. But your wires obviously disappeared because I've rotated that and changed the numbering. So you can see there that because that wire was in space, it was inconsequential, and when I rotated it, the wire actually disappeared. It's not there anymore. So you can see there with your connectors and your wiring, you can just drop a connector straight in, as I did with the left-hand example, or you can put a connector in space and start connecting wires to it from other components.